Good morning to you all. Today we shall discuss about the basic concepts of optical communication system. So optical communication system comes under the wired communication system. The main reason is it supports very high data rate. So we can use optical communication for high data rate applications. The outline of today's presentation, it includes the introduction, components, elements of optical link, evolution of fiber optic system, operating ranges of components, benefits, application, and finally the conclusion. First, introduction to optical communication system. So we shall divide the communication system into two based on the channel, that is the wired communication and wireless communication. In wireless communication, the signals are radiated in free space. So the signals are the electromagnetic waves. But in wired communication, the transmitter and receiver, they are connected through cables. There will be a physical connection between the transmitter and receiver. So in wired communication, different types of wires, that is coaxial cables, copper cables, or optical fibers can be connected from between the transmitter and receiver. So in optical fiber communication system, the informations are transferred from one place to another in the form of light. So the light signals that forms an electromagnetic carrier wave and which is modulated, and then signals are propagated. So the optical fiber, it is a dielectric waveguide that operates in the optical frequencies. So this optical fiber, the light signals, the optical fibers carries the light signal and it will be propagated. So it is in cylindrical form. So the optical fibers are very much beneficial since the interference effects will be very minimum when compared to wireless communication system. Next, the components of optical cable. The optical cable consists of four components. They are the core, cladding, buffer, and jacket. So core is the innermost region of the optical fiber. So it is small in size, and the light signal will be propagated through the core alone. The core is made up of either plastic or glass material, and it has some refractive index value. So the refractive index of the core should be always higher than the refractive index of the cladding. The light signal will be propagated through the core based on the total internal reflection phenomena. Next, the core is surrounded by cladding. So cladding is made up of glass material which has lower refractive index than the core. So this cladding will protect the core, and then cladding is surrounded by the buffer. So buffer is a protection layer. So it protects both the core as well as cladding. So next, it consists of number of optical cables that will be winded up by the buffer region. Next is the jacket. So all the optical cables are covered by this jacket. It is to provide protection for this optical cable. So it is made up of plastic materials. So the main purpose is when we are using these optical cables in underground or in sea. So when this, if we are placing this optical fiber in the underground region, so that will be corrupted due to soil erosion or soil corrosions. So to protect our optical cable from this physical damaging, we are giving using the jackets. Also, when the optical cables can be laid in the under ocean or in sea, also in that case also we need to protect our inner material, that is the core and cladding, that will be protected by the jacket. Given here, this is the basic elements of an optical fiber link. So here, first of all, it consists of the transmitter, receiver, as well as the channel. So first, the source generates the light signal. So this source will be operated by the drive circuit, so which need electrical signal as the input. So in this figure, the solid lines, that is bold lines, which represents the electrical signal, and the crossed line which represents the optical signal. So first of all, we are giving the input signal to operate the drive circuit. So based on that, input signals are given to the light source. So here LED or laser, these are the two commonly used light source. They are operated to generate the optical signals. So this LED or laser light source will be driven by this drive circuit. So whatever the information we need to transmit for its equivalent light signals are generated from this source. So here these are driven by this electrical input. So based on the input signal, the light signal it generates the light output, and that is carried out through the optical fiber. So it is then that will be transmitted through the channel. So this channel it consists of number of components. They are the connectors, optical splicers, beam splitters, couplers, regenerators, amplifiers, etc. So the purpose of these things are, first one is the connectors. So there are two types of connectors are there. They are simple connectors as well as splicers. So first is the connector. Connector is used to connect to optical fiber. So it gives a temporary connection. If we need to connect to fibers, we can use connector, and or else if we need to disconnect, we can disconnect this connection through the when we are using these connectors. Next one is the optical splicers. So optical splicers, it is also a type of connector, but it gives the permanent joint, which means the two ends of the optical fibers are connected. Here we are using the optical fusing, so by which the two ends are fused, so it will be considered as the permanent connection. So once we are using the optical splicers, then we cannot disconnect the connection. So these are the two types of connectors are used. So whatever our need, we can use the type of connections. Next is the beam splitter as well as coupler. So two components are there. So from the name itself we can define, that is when a signal is transmitted through the optical fiber, if we need to uh, divide the incoming signal into two components, then we can give the beam splitter. So in the beam splitter, it has a single input port and two output ports. So when the input is transmitted through this beam splitter, it is divided into two components, and that will be transmitted. So or else if we need to connect two signals, so we can go for the coupler. So in that coupler, it has two inputs and it produces one output. So signals from different optical cables are given as the input of this coupler. At the end, the two signals are mixed up and it will be produce the output. So these things are used in the transmission path. Next is the regenerator. So regenerator is an important component, that is it will generate the signal whatever we have generated in the transmitting end. So for example, just consider the transmitting end, we have generated a signal, a light signal of particular amplitude. So that signal will be transmitted through the cable. So for a long distance we are transmitting, for example, for 100 kilometers we are transmitting these signals. In between, and the signal is transmitted up to 20 kilometers, the signal strength will be get degraded. So that to boost this signal, we are going for the regenerator. So regenerate, the function of the regenerator is it will generate the same signal which was generated at the transmitting end. So here also the regenerator has the input, which is the optical signal. So the received signal is given to the driven electronics. Based on that, these optical signals are generated. So here we are using an optical transmitter. So the output of the optical transmitter, it produces the optical signal, and then it is once again transmitted through the optical fiber. So based on our distance, the distance between the transmitting and receiving end, we can increase the number of regenerators. So for short distance, for example, for 10 kilometers, there may be no need for any regenerator. Or if you are going for optical cables to 1000 kilometers or 2000 kilometers, there is a must to include the regenerators. So based on the distance, we can increase the number of regenerators. So next, the signals are transmitted through that optical fiber, and here is optical amplifier. It is to amplify the signal, and then it is given to the receiver. So the receiver, it consists of photodetector, amplifier, and signal processing circuit. So at the receiving end, the photodetector, the receiver has, the first component is the photodetector. So the received signal is an optical signal that is given to the photodetector. So in the photodetector, different types of detectors are used: pin photodetector or avalanche photodetector, whatever it is, we can use based on the application. So output of the photodetector will be the electrical signal. So whatever the input, that will be the optical signal, for which equivalent electrical signal will be generated at the optical detector. Then the electrical signal will be amplified, then it is given to the signal processing circuit. So here the whatever the information we are transmitted in the transmitting end, that will be recovered. So this is the basic block diagram of an optical communication link. Next, the evolution of optical fiber system. So so far the optical communication system come across 5 generations. First is the first generation. It is normally called as window. It is first window. So in first window we have used gallium arsenide materials for producing the source. Then is the it is operated in 800 nanometer of wavelength and it supports bitrate of 45 megabits per second. Here the repeater spacing is of about 10 kilometer. So for 10-kilometer distance we need to give an repeater spacing. Next is the second generation, or it is also known as second window. So here the indium gallium arsenide phosphate is used as the semiconducting material, and the second generation of optical communication systems are operated in 1300 nanometer wavelength and supports bitrate from 100 megabits per second to 1.7 gigabits per second. And here the repeater spacing is of about 50 kilometers. So the repeater spacing is get increased and as well as the bitrate is get increased. Next is the third generation or third window. So this third window is operated in 1550 nanometer of wavelength and supports bitrate of 10 gigabits per second. Here the repeater spacing is increased up to 100 kilometer. Next is the fourth generation. So fourth generation it supports 10 terabits per second of data rate, and here repeater spacing is increased up to 10,000 kilometers and the operating wavelength is of around 1450 to 1620 nanometer. And then this is fifth generation. Here also the repeater spacing is get increased, that is up to 35,000 kilometer. We can transmit the signal without repeaters. Next is it is operated in the wavelength of 5530 to 1570 nanometers, and here also the data rate is get increased, that is up to 40 to 160 gigabits per second. So the when we compare to the wireless communication system, the data rate is gets so much increased. So now in wireless communication, we are in the fourth generation. So it supports maximum of 1 gigabits per second, and also in the fifth generation, it is expected to be around 20 gigabits per second for downlink. For uplink it is expected to be 10 gigabits per second, but in wireless communication, in optical communication, the bitrate is gets so far increased, that is around 150 gigabits per second bitrate is supported. So this is the operating range and as well as of the components. So first graph represents the effects of attenuation. So when the wavelength as well as attenuation is plotted, so the attenuation level is get reduced up to 1300 nanometer. So the first window is of about 850 nanometer. When compared to first window and second window, the attenuation level is get reduced, that is in 1300 nanometer the attenuation level is get somewhat reduced so that it supports a high bitrate, and after that the attenuation level is get increased, and once again this attenuation level is decreased at the range of 1500 nanometer. So after that the attenuation level is get somewhat increased. So the third generation we use the operating wavelength as 1550 nanometer. So next is the responsibility as well as wavelength curve. So here we are using different materials to construct the optical amplifiers as well as the optical sources. So in the first window that is operated in 850 nanometer and it uses gallium aluminum arsenide as the optical source as well as the same material for optical amplifiers. So in 1300 as well as 1550 nanometers, the indium gallium arsenide phosphate that is used as the optical source as well as optical amplifiers, and also the PDFA as well as EDFA optical amplifiers are used. So benefits. The benefits of optical communication systems, it produces a wide bandwidth as well as it increases the data rate. So speed of operation is get highly increased, and also the electrical isolation is done in the transmission medium. Also the transmission losses is very minimum, and also the antenna, the optical fiber that will be a small size, that is of about thin like hair structure, so that the size is get very minimum, and this optical communication system is highly secured and that is immune to interference and crosstalks. Applications. The optical communication systems are widely used for military applications, public network, and especially for submarine communications and field of computers, as well as consumer and industrial applications. So the reference is Grid Kaiser and John M. Seiner of Optical Communication System. Thank you.